Hi there and welcome to Next Chapter Raise. I'm Diana Dorahy. Well, for many, 2020 was a year to forget, but there were still plenty of female funding wins and big steps for women entrepreneurs in general. To talk about it, I'm joined now by Nicole Denholder, founder of Next Chapter Raise. And Nicole, what a year, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a year that caught the entire world off guard, for companies big and small, meant having to take a good look at their business strategy. And for many, it was reworking budgets. One of the big reveals this year was a report that showed that 41% of global startups have less than 3 months of runway. That's a huge wake-up call. You need 6 months of runway. And that's, even something more important before you even factor in something like a global pandemic.
Yeah, it certainly was a big wake-up call. Now, there was a lot written about how to handle the change in business environment this year. What resonated with you the most?
Well, experts talked a lot about pivoting, but the one piece of advice that resonated both with me and our members was to focus on the customer and any KPIs that showed customer satisfaction. You had to be really wary of any pivots that could negatively impact that customer experience. And you really, focusing on the essential products. And lastly, during tough times, it's about painkillers, not vitamins.
Certainly is. There was a lot of founder wins this year, and we had some impressive news within our own community.
Yeah, we've had lots of member wins this year, which was, has really validated Next Chapter Raise's launch and our mission to get female founders funded faster. So among some of our biggest member wins was Catherine Cole, founder of Motive, won the AmCham Startup Series, one of their pitch sessions in Hong Kong. We had 2 members accepted into the Founder Institute program, Polly Satunga of Conscious Paper and Mandy Chung of Zesserton. And Jill from College and Lab also won the Founder Institute and Next Chapter Raise Fellowship. And plus, we had Natalie Chan of Own Academy, who was shortlisted as one of East Asia region's top 10 female founders in the Cardio Women's Initiative, which was great news.
It was indeed. Globally, we saw some big wins for women as well.
Yes, Adore Beauty in Australia became the largest Australian stock exchange listing, led by a female co-founder and the first woman-led company in the exchange's history. And in America, you had Jane Fraser became the first woman to lead a major Wall Street bank after being announced as Citigroup's next CEO. And also in the US, we saw the first women's bank open in Chicago, becoming the first commercial bank startup in more than a decade. And their focus is on lending to women-owned businesses, which really maps into Next Chapter Raise's kind of core approach around how do we, focus on getting women access to a variety of capital sources to support them in their business journey.
Funding for women, unfortunately, decreased this year compared to last, but we still saw some impressive funding in 2020. There's still capital out there.
Yep. Yes, there was infant formula company Bubs announced a $38 million equity raise. There was the rental kitchen startup Karma Kitchen, which had an astonishing run when it set out to raise £3 million and then ended up raising $250 million instead, which is a big number. We also had some big wins in the femtech space. At the at-home medical testing company Everlywell announced a $175 million Series D round, and telehealth startup Kovu banked $6 million because they had gone from 200 online consultations a day to 25,000 consultations, which is a big jump.
Huge. Talk about a COVID benefit business.
Yeah.
What were some of your other favourite moments in the year?
I suppose as an Australian, it was wonderful to see Cardio crown its first winner from Australia since their global initiative began in 2006. It was Joanne Howarth, founder of Planet Protector Packaging, who won for the South Asia and Oceania region. My other favourite moment was seeing her capital set up in Singapore this year, and we've worked with them as our investor in residence. They were involved in our female funding fair. So, they're passionate about getting female founders funded, and I think we'll see really big things from them in 2021.
You spoke out and were involved in so many funding events this year. I think there was something in the calendar every month in 2020, from the HSBC private banking to South China Morning Post Gender Lens Investing Panel, the Sydney University MBA program, Le French Tech, and of course our very own female funding fair. Were there any common denominators from these events in terms of female funding trends in 2020?
It's a really good question. I think what's clear that there's still a long way to go for women to be fully educated in this space. And it's the reason why we're launching our Capital Club program in January. Female founders need to understand the funding process at the kind of levels that will allow them to scale. And plus, I think more women are conscious of the prevention style questions that the industry is trying to address, which is part one, or part of it's recognizing that there's a problem. But part two is being able to answer, these prevention style questions so that, they can, increase their chances of funding. And I think founders realize they need to get ahead of this if they're going to master the pitch. You mentioned common denominators. A more positive one is, I think founders are starting to realize that there are lots of different funding options available and they just have to look for them.
What do you think, or who do you think are some of the companies and founders to watch in 2021?
Well, moving forward, I think Cecilia Chu, the CEO and co-founder of @UTrip, is one of the fastest growing fintech companies in Southeast Asia. Last year, they raised a record US 26 million pre-Series A funding, and that's the largest for a fintech startup in Southeast Asia. And Lucy is another fintech which is focused on financial solutions for women, and they've launched in Singapore, so it'll be really great to see their growth next year.
Yeah, those companies are certainly on everyone's radars. What funding trends are you predicting in 2021?
Definitely, I think we're going to see more of a data-driven approach to funding, which is a focus on the numbers instead of the pitch delivery. And as I mentioned, there's an increasing amount of press around promotion versus prevention style questions and its impact on funding for women. So I think that's very much on everyone's radar, and I think we'll start calling it out when we see it, which is great. I mean, to that end, we had an investor training session recently, and everyone who participated commented how valuable it was, to better understand this issue. And, it's just these types of events will help achieve some form of mindset change, which is we're hopeful of that. We've also seen a real move by some of the big investment banks to focus on female founders. So I think we'll start to see the fruits of those investments. In the Philippines, we've seen the start of gender smart investing. In Hong Kong, the government has given a lot of money to small businesses to go towards employee retention, marketing, technology upgrades. And I think that's helped raise awareness about funding and encourage all founders to look beyond bootstrapping and just credit cards, right? I think we're also going to see more women on boards. The NASDAQ is pushing for more than 3,000 companies that are listed on its exchange to make board diversity mandatory, which we should expect to see from that some trickle-down effect. Finally, in the VC space, we're starting to see some alternatives to traditional VC investment. Last week, Tractor Ventures in Australia announced it's now offering revenue-based financing to founders who either do not want VC capital or are not the right fit for a VC. And we've also worked in that space with Flywheel Financing from Singapore, who offer revenue-based financing, which is, an up-and-coming alternative capital source.
Next Chapter Raise launched earlier this year, and in that short period of time, we've welcomed new members, developed a new community, plus launched the Raise the Bar podcast, which has done phenomenally well. Also launched the Road to Funding series and hosted a female funding fair. It was a busy year. What can we expect from Next Chapter in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, we've kicked off and I'm super pleased how it's gone. And, as I mentioned, looking towards 2021, we're excited to be offering our new Capital Club program from January, which is really building on our Savvy Club membership that launched earlier this year. And the Capital Club provides technical fundraising resources together with expert support and leadership coaching. So the bottom line is women are going to have to be better prepared to be able to operate at the investor level. And so that's what the Capital Club will offer. And then in our masterclass series this year, we've already covered everything from taking stock of your finances, planning your funding journey, how to make yourself interesting to an investor, and legal basics before receiving investment. So looking forward, we've got some other big topics where, obviously planning for 2021 in terms of what's your business and funding journey, nailing revenue models, because, you might be seeking capital, but you've also got to be either revenue generating or looking towards a path towards that, co-founder how-to, that's definitely coming up, and many more topics. And in addition to those, it's going to be great. And we're also going to do some more mentoring hours and funding implementation hours, which, the response to those hours have been really overwhelming. And, founders are clearly craving that one-on-one time with advisors, and also be on the lookout for more partnerships with accelerator programs.
Let's finish on a fun note. What do you want for Christmas?
As always, at this time of year, it's really just time with family. It's been a big year, so it'll be nice to take some time out and, also re-energize for 2021, because we've got quite a bit coming up at Next Chapter Raise. So
we sure do. Rest and revitalize is certainly going to be on our holiday menu. For now, though, thank you so much, Nicole. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. We can't wait to see what happens in 2021, and all the best to our community as well.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Bye.
See you.